can be taken but not given. It is the process of taking which is empowerment in itself. This is Matt Pearce. Welcome back, everyone. We're just continuing our discussion about the local political situation to do with the resignation.
And the question is, can the de facto referendum be given? Like what Jingo said. What the Jingo saying? Can it be given?
Yeah, that's a very good...
by pan-democrats.
Yeah. Very good point. Yeah, very good point. Absolutely. And...
I think we should use it as your soundbite. Right?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and interesting, you used the expression de facto referendum, and that is the actual proper English expression that the English media are using, actually. And several Chinese people have come up to me and said, what's the English expression for what's happening in Hong Kong? And I didn't quite know that about this word de facto, actually. And actually, I've looked it up, knowing that I was going to come on the radio today. I've looked up, because it's I had no idea what de facto exactly means, but it's actually a Latin expression, isn't it? And it means literally by the fact. It's the idea that Hong Kong is having this it's legal. It's not an actual referendum to decide universal suffrage, but it's the idea that it's having this referendum as a kind of a form of a protest, even though won't legally be recognised or improve. It won't actually elect people, but it's that kind of idea. So now we know de facto referendum is the kind of the
in
expression.
Chinese. They already have a very precise, nicely term called 變相公投. 變相 is de facto, and they don't have to borrow from Latin.
Right, okay.
They can just simply use the Chinese one.
Okay. So, my view on it is that, I support the League of Social Democrats on it, and the Civic Party, that, the way I look at it ultimately is it's a form of protest. It's just another form of protesting the situation in Hong Kong, and a way to mobilise and bring attention to fight for democracy. That's the way kind of I look at it. And in some ways, I don't quite understand where the old guard of the Democratic Party they're coming from, and quite their angle on it. I mean, what's your thoughts on it? I mean, have they lost the plot? In some ways, do you know, if you do know that expression, are they, what do you think is their agenda?
Joe, you can share a little bit. You're part of the political circle.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, I think Matt raises quite an interesting question as well. I mean, why would the so-called, I don't know whether it's appropriate to call it, but people used to say, those are men of yesterday. I mean, they already left the political scene.
Yeah.
But why what they say has so much impact on what's going on? It seems that, Sitawah opposed the de facto referendum idea. Okay, we should stop a little bit and stop the fight. What is going on?
I really don't understand why Hong Kong people have to listen to only one icon, and just let them to distort the idea of de facto referendum. From 2 days ago, the Democratic Party started to distort the term de facto referendum to by-election only. So the most important message I would like to deliver is to ask Democratic Party to be brave. We are all waiting for them.
And there have been reports last week that Albert Ho, at the beginning, actually supported the idea of the mass resignation and the de facto referendum. But it was because it was opposed by the EXCO members in his own party that he changed his mind or to stick with the party line. Or maybe there has been also rumors that because Sitawah also okay, that's his message. So we sort of people had to be listening to him or sort of respect him. So, but if you look at it that way, it's a bit worrisome because that's not much different from the politics in Beijing and Zhongnanhai, listening to the older generation and the like Empress Qixi, Empress Dowager, who was always listening behind the scene, right?
It's become very Animal Farm, like. You know, when the power comes up to you and you're going to lose it, and then everybody behave the same as the pig, like Napoleon, right?
So look at from that angle, Matt, would you still see Hong Kong? Of course, we don't have a universal suffrage yet, but in terms of party politics, even in the pan-democratic camp, it's still at a very, very primitive stage. Given even the Democratic Party had that sort of...
I think basically they're just, ultimately they are afraid of losing their jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, if they are not afraid of losing their job, why they don't quit? Right? I mean, it's a very simple question, you know. They never have the guts to come up and say, okay, I'm not afraid of losing our seat and losing our job.
That we can share some counter arguments about what they actually think, what questions were they have in mind in terms of opposing the mass resignation. I have a guest last night in my own show in the Chinese section of my radio, and it was legislator Leung Yu-chung, and he shared his concerns. He was saying that, okay, I don't like the idea at all. I think it is stupid because, first of all, the so-called de-facto referendum is only the way you see it. I don't see that at all. How can you change from by-election to call it to call this de facto referendum? It's only your wishful thinking. And how could you convince and persuade other voters that this is a referendum, not a by-election? At least you can't convince me. I see this as a by-election. That's no way. I can't see no way whatsoever this is a referendum. So he's saying that this is already a big flaw. So this is one of his counter-arguments.
But why the people vote him? Yeah, I mean, if people don't believe in democracy, I mean, for the people who vote for the Democratic Party, you know, absolutely they are not those who pro-government, right? But why he vote him? Of course, there's a reason, because people know the votes is the right for them. But I think Leung Yu-chung is having some problem, right? In his brain. He cannot. It's a very simple ABC question, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it is a concern, though, if the Democratic, because the activists and the members of the Democratic Party, they will listen. Unfortunately, they will listen to what they're being told by the senior members of the Democratic Party. And the real concern is if LSD and the Civic Party go through with it and have the resignation, will they still have a good chance of winning their seats, obviously, without... especially if the Democratic Party are even refusing to mobilise their supporters in order to vote to get people back, and obviously that is a concern. But hopefully the Democratic Party at least will, even if they don't, they're not willing to have their lawmakers be one of the people to resign, and they're not willing to support it publicly. At least, behind the scenes, hopefully they're willing to mobilise their members in order to get enough votes to make sure that the right people win.
But I can ask Joe one question. I don't think the Democratic